So, good morning, friends. Today we are here with the REPERTORY class again, and in this class we are going to know something about Dr. Boenninghausen, who is one of the founder pillar of homeopathy, and his contribution cannot be forgotten as long as homeopathy is there. Because Dr. Henneman has propounded this philosophy of homeopathy, the actual practical aspect was prescribed by Dr. Boenninghausen. So let us see what is the contribution and how the Boenninghausen came into this homeopathic field through this lineage. So this is a series of the repertory formations history, the formative stage when the repertory was under construction, being prepared by Dr. Henneman, and it was followed by Dr. Boenninghausen and many of the followers during the Henneman time. They were busy in preparing the different way, finding out common way for the having a repertory. And the concept of the repertory was very essential, which was experienced by Dr. Henneman himself during his own time. And he was also feeling that there is a need to have a calculated type of the things from where we can get a medicine immediately when the patient. Because the vastness of the symptoms are so much that it uh, cannot be memorized. And also, if you are able to memorize, it is not possible to get them retrieved when you are in the clinic. So, memorizing and retrieving problem has to be managed by, assisted by some mechanical device, and this was gave the birth concept of the repertorial process. Dr. Henneman was looking forward for the new concepts, some some system. He found that to fulfill his for him a patient is never represented by a single symptom. So many symptoms are there in each of the patient, and each symptoms carry different type of the remedy, and they have to be synchronized. They have to be put together to get attuned and only one medicine out of that, because patient has to be prescribed only a single medicine. So this process of understanding gave birth to the Dr. Boenninghausen's therapeutic of the repertory. And then Dr. Boenninghausen was also busy. There were several followers of Dr. Henneman were busy in preparing the repertorial system. Uh, Dr. Henneman's discovery of homeopathy led him to find out the methodology and develop system for the proper practice. Finding out medicines and according to homeopathy, the discovery of the proving method. This was the basic thing. Dr. Henneman has discovered the new proving method, and the proved medicine. He found out the vital principle and the discovery of the potency, and then ultimately, out of the selection, the better way to applications of the law of the simile. So this is called the discovery of the repertory. From the discovery from the medicines which were proved on healthy human beings, you got the symptoms. The vastness of the symptoms is spread throughout the body, physical and mental plane of the body of the persons, and also at the vital principle level. You have to reach at the vital principle, the discovery of the potency was there. So there is a great lineage of symptoms and as well as the plane where the medicines has to play a great role in the patient's life. And finally, there should be a proper applications of the law of the similia. Most similar medicines has to be prescribed. This is the basic tenets of the homeopathic prescribing. And For finding out a perfect system, a selection of medicines himself was to develop repertory. And many disciples and followers were emerged to develop repertory. And being disappointed from Dr. Jha, he gave every assistance and encouragement to Dr. Boenninghausen. Dr. Jha, Dr. Ruckert, Dr. Lee, Dr. Many others were engaged, but they were not also. But he was very much hopeful from Dr. Boenninghausen. So he encouraged Dr. Boenninghausen. Dr. Jha was a busy practitioner, and for him, investing time in the some research methodology was difficult. So, and Dr. Boenninghausen was also there, but he was a sincere man. Dr. Boenninghausen has the mind which was called the lawful mind, the regulated mind, and for that Dr. Boenninghausen attracted Dr. Henneman, and Dr. Henneman was inspired by the Boenninghausen's understanding on the homeopathy. And Dr. Henneman's keen observation power immediately recognized the genius hidden in the Dr. Boenninghausen. Baron von Boenninghausen, he was an LLD, MD, and he belonged to the era of 1785 to 1864, was Henneman's most intimate friend, diligent people, and in fact indefatigable co-laborer, as well as Germany's greatest homeopathist next to the master. In addition to his enormous practice from nobility to peasant, he managed to write many classical articles and books on the art of homeopathy. These were also exactly trustworthy, fully endorsed by Dr. Henneman, and so voluminous that they alone would easily occupy the lifetime for a good man. You can continue reading the writings of Dr. Boenninghausen in the lesser writing at the other books that he has published, and it will take a long time to complete the. So he was a master. He was just not only a master. He was just a dictionary author. You can say that Dr. Boenninghausen was an encyclopedia for the homeopathy. Dr. Boenninghausen was one of the few remarkable men without whom the science of homeopathy might have been deprived of the vital link. He was only 45-year-old when he started his education in homeopathy. Among the true followers of Dr. Henneman, von Boenninghausen is the best known for his therapeutic pocket books, pocket repertory of therapeutic pocket book repertory of the antizoic, and his last and greatest work, Diaphorme de Hippocrate, which has not been translated into the English yet. King Friedrich Wilhelm, under date July of 1843, issued to Boenninghausen a document empowering him to practice medicines without any resistance. So he was conferred to practice medicines by the King Friedrich Wilhelm in 1843. Although he was not a medical student, although he had not completed his medical study, but because of his self-study, interest, and his acumen in the homeopathy, he was allowed to practice homeopathy without any constraint or restriction from the law side. Dr. Boenninghausen was not satisfied with his own work, and he went from one form to another in an attempt to condense space and lessen arduous task of finding the indicated remedy. When you compile the symptoms, it becomes so voluminous, and going through the voluminous literature in a clinical work is very difficult. So there must be a concise, there must be some calculated type of the things that we have today in present, where we can multiply, where we can divide, where we can have a mathematical process within very few minutes. Today, now it is possible, but during the Boenninghausen's time, Henneman's time, it was not. It had to be done manually, and this for the manual purpose, the repertorial And you know that this base of the repertoire that was created by Dr. Boenninghausen has also been adopted in the computer system of the science. So the computer technology is very much parallel to the repertorial process of Dr. Henneman and Dr. Boenninghausen. As early as 1830, Dr. Boenninghausen has already prepared an index or repertory for his own use. This handwritten guide was appreciated by others very much, and he constantly asked to get it filled. And Dr. Boenninghausen was not satisfied with his own work, and he went from one form to another in an attempt to condense his space and less an arduous task of finding the indicated limits. And 1832, Dr. Boenninghausen prepared the first repertory, which was the progenitor of the latter repertory. It was called the Repertory of the Antisoric Remedy, and it was prefaced by Dr. Henneman. The first edition of the Repertory of Antisoric Remedy was sold out within 6 months, and second edition appeared in 1833. First repertory was of the Boenninghausen was appreciated not only because it was praised by Dr. Henneman, but because it was became the basis of many future repertories like that of the Jar, Allentown, Manuel, Lippe, and great extent to the Kent repertory. Boger also adopted this pattern and brought out synthesis of Boenninghausen's earliest repertory and the therapeutic pocket. You know that Boger was a great practitioner, and he has also followed the Boenninghausen's principle, and we have the BBCR, that is Boger Boenninghausen's concordance report. Objective of the Boenninghausen's. The three things is very important to understand: the completeness of the symptoms, gravity of the symptoms, and easy in consultations. This was the objective for having the Boenninghausen's understanding. There was alphabetical order and systematical arrangement. Besides the extremely logical arrangement, the most useful innovation introduced by him was the gradation and valuation of the drug for a particular symptoms. Dr. Jar, in his preface to the fourth edition of his repertory in 1851, gave Boenninghausen the credit for the system of evaluations of the remedy. Repertory of Antisoric Remedy was translated by Dr. Boger in 1900. Dr. Samuel Hahnemann intended to include a repertory of the miasmatic remedies in the chronic disease, and Dr. Boenninghausen fulfilled the founder wishes by publishing the repertory of antisoric remedies in 1832 with the preface by founder Dr. Henneman. The miasmatic repertory, that we say, the repertory of the antisoric remedy specialized in only those remedies that were fully antisoric, antipsychotic, and antipsychotic. Of Dr. Henneman's 112 remedies, 48 are clearly anti-miasmatic remedies, while the other 64 are asoric or non-miasmatic in nature. Nowadays, we cannot say that they are non-miasmatic because now we have introduced and we clearly know the miasmatic aspect of each and every medicine that were discovered by Dr. Heyman and also later on introduced by many other people. Repertory of antisoric remedies was the precursor of the Boenninghausen's characteristics and repertory. The first two editions was published in 1905. Later on, with the help of his manuscript of the full second edition and assistance from the wife of the late Dr. Boger, second edition and enlarged editions was published posthumously in 1937 in India by Roy and Company in Mumbai. From 1830, Boenninghausen was in close touch with Dr. Henneman until the close of Dr. Henneman's life, and as long as Boenninghausen lived, he kept in close touch with all those practicing homeopathy. Dr. Boenninghausen imbibed the Hahnemann's spirit of the homeopathy, we can say. Dr. Boenninghausen followed the fundamental of the Hahnemann. The both very much fundamentals are nothing can be known of the disease except through the symptoms. It is only the patient who is ill and not his part or organ. Symptoms are the only unfailing guide to the selection of the remedy. Peculiar, characteristic, individualizing symptoms, as against the common symptoms, denote the similarity of the remedy. The remedy can hardly be indicated by a single symptom, however peculiar it may be. So this was the heart, I would say the heart of the remedy. Patient has to be known through the symptoms. Patient has to be not known by his part or organ, and only the symptoms is the unfailing guide. And it is not only alone single symptom, but the groups of the symptoms that will indicate the similarity. A patient is never indicated by a single symptom, however peculiar it may be. Boenninghausen's approach is now precisely into the grand generalizations on grand scale, prime importance to the modality, high evaluation of the concomitant, and importance of physical general and use of mental for differentiation. So these are the 5 concepts which were utilized which as a which were utilized to fulfill the 4 tenets of Dr. Boenninghausen. These 4 tenets, through the symptoms, not the part of, not the particular, only the general symptom and the group of the symptoms. So these found the concept. They gave birth to the generalizations on grand scale importance because this generalizations symptoms has to be completed in the complete sense with the modality, sensation, and concomitant, and importance of the physical general was that because it is the only visible part and mental for the differentiation. So this is the things that you can say the practical aspect of Hahnemannian philosophy. Now, fundamental guidance towards navigating and collecting characteristics value of the system. Dr. Boenninghausen gave you the 7 hexameter. The hexameter, that is the quiz, who is the person, the personality, what is the problem, where is the location, and cubus, oculus, or concomitant symptoms. What are the associated symptoms? Cure means why, that is position. Umado means modality, and unando means when. So you must have the question in your mind when a patient is before you: who, what, why, what else, or why, and then modality, when, so and how. So if you have these friendly words with you, you can discover into the personality, you can discover into the problem, locations, concomitant, causations, and modality. So keeping in mind this hexameter of Dr. Boenninghausen, you can complete the history of the patient. And wherever you are taking the patient history, and the case taking format has to be followed with all these 7 questions. And emergence of therapeutic pocket. Next important contribution of Dr. Boenninghausen was the therapeutic pocket books. The original editions, Therapeutic Textbook for homeopathists arte, Jung, Gebrace, M. Carnatway, and Bem Stadium remain at the minister. The therapeutic pocket books for homeopathic physicians for the use at the sick bed and for the study of pure homeopathic medica. The concept was that it should be as one side or precise or as small as it should be carried in your hand, and you can go before the patient's bed and you can consult it there only and get the pure medica symptoms. So this was the concept, this was the objective for having a therapeutic pocket book, a book that can be kept within the pocket, within the doctor's, in every doctor must have this book in his pocket whenever he travels, whenever he is with the patient. The structure of therapeutic pocket is more giving us freedom for logical and tested permutations and combinations of symptoms of one section with the another. The therapeutic pocketbooks took almost 10 years to have its structure reformed from the repertory of antisoric remedy. The current BBCI is based on the structure of repertory of antisoric remedy. It did this to make the repertory handy, which is another improvement, important uh, feature of any ideal repertory. Now, what we see, all the repertory which was formed, they have the basic format of Dr. Boenninghausen. Even Dr. Kane has utilized this format for his repertory, Kane's repertory, and later on the new repertory like synthesis, the complete repertory, they are also following the same principles. There is no deviation, only additions, only new formations, new additions are being made. The English Therapeutic Pocket Book translation was completed in the same year. Dr. John Stapp, he was the editor of the Archive for the first homeopathic periodical appearing in 1822. Only this repertory fully represents Boenninghausen's approach to case taking and analysis. During Boenninghausen's time, repertory was a new adventure in homeopathic literature. He in construction of his therapeutic pocketbook embodied several original features. There was great pressure and necessity in conducting of many proving that has appeared. So this is the beginning of the journey, and still we are following. The homeopaths are moving, continuing this journey by adding on new symptomatology, new scenario, new medicines, everything. Dr. Boenninghausen's therapeutic pocket books was first printed in 1846 and was the end result of Boenninghausen's work. It was translated in English by a number of people, Oki in 1847, Hempel in 1847, and T.F. Allen in 1891. Yet, despite this accessibility as a book, the use of the book has remained fairly inaccessible unless one was fortunate enough to study an old prescriber who knew how to use it. The last of the Boenninghausen's user in the USA was Dr. Alan Sutherland, and he died in 1980. BTP is based on the concept of the whole man. He emphasized on the balance of concomitant and the modality. His intention was not to reflect the concept of man through his mental reactions, because he realized how rapt a view even the most careful observer must have at times or through any other predominant group of the symptoms. So Boenninghausen's legal mind seized upon several salient features in the cumbersome proving, by means of which was able to devise a perfect repertory that was much more convenient, elaborate, compact, comprehensible, and easy to use. So, assurance to maintain the perfection. This is the assurance from Dr. Boenninghausen. Without having an assurance to maintain that everywhere within these limits accuracy has been attained, I can say with certainty that no industry care, no circumspection has been wanting on my part to avoid error as far as possible. So this is the assurance Dr. Boenninghausen that he writes about this publication. I therefore took upon myself the tedious task of correcting proof sheets and also prepared both an English and French translation, so that wherever the type permitted, it would be necessary to change only the name of the rubric, retaining stereotype that carefully revised text of that. So this is the feelings, sensation of Dr. Boenninghausen, what he talked about the completeness of the repertory. He says the scope of this book, as given in the title of the book, is doubled. On the one hand, to aid memory of the physician at the bedside in the selection of remedy, and on the other hand, to act as a guide in study of the Meta Medica Pura, by means of which one may be able to find his way and to judge of the greater or less value of each symptom, and to make the whole more complete and sharply defined. Now, again in 1935, Dr. Boenninghausen came out with another repertory, that is repertory of the medicines which are not antisoric. Earlier he was published referred to the medicines which were soric, and now it is not antisoric. Boenninghausen, another work was important work was an attempt at showing the relative kinship of the homeopathic remedy. So these are the, so we can say that Boenninghausen is now considered as father of the repertory and also the father of the relationship of the remedy in homeopathy. It is not miasmatic repertory. Repertory of medicines which are not antisoric was composed of medicines that were trauma, acute miasma, acute disorder, and intercurrent remedy, while the miasmatic repertory was for the chronic miasma and the degenerative. So he made a two distinct book where you have the one miasmatic presentations and the other where there is no miasmatic presentation. Boenninghausen, with his lawyer mind, compared the value of homeopathy with orthodox medicine and later on the comparative value of remedy in relation to particular symptoms group. So relationship of remedy was later on included in the Boenninghausen's therapeutic pocket. Boenninghausen laid the foundation and delineated the new principles, new doctrine for constructing a repertory. That means his repertory was the first and one to have a philosophical background. He loved the repertory totality, concept of totality of disease, to understand the natural drug disease, which finally facilitated to build a bridge between artificial and natural disease. Hence, the justification to designate him as father of repertory will not ever be an exaggeration. His excellence deserves in all persons. Star comes, star dies, but there are some stars who enlighten that firmament forever. C.F. Baron von Boenninghausen is one of such stars who will never perish for the homeopathic firmament. So thank you, friends. With this presentation, you can ask me any questions on my WhatsApp number 94310 or you can write to me on risats@gmail.com. For any questions, you can be free to ask the questions. We see our friends listening to this lecture, and I hope if you have any questions, you can share with me. Now we are at the close of the session now, and we will be closing the session soon. If you have any questions right now, you can ask me. Yes, any questions, please, from the audience at the YouTube? since I don't see any questions, I hope uh, we can, on next Sunday, we will be going into the another understanding related to the repertory, but especially to the Boenninghausen's concepts. There are so many things that needs to be clarified. I will be trying to give you all the answer the way that I know and understood this so much. Thank you. And with this, I close this session. Thank you. Thank you very much.